Welcome back, everybody, to episode 20 of the Minecraft Let's Play. Thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate you tuning into the Let's Play world. So today I've decided to completely redo the entire mob spawning system, largely because the old system just doesn't work. Yeah, when you are 40 blocks away from hostile monsters, they literally stop moving. They will not walk off the edge into the water, and they will not get funneled into the center because they're not moving. So there's no way of actually getting the monsters to go into your mob system. And that explains the extremely low rates despite the number of mobs that I know are down there because I visit them occasionally. So it's kind of disappointing to know that I have built a system that literally does not work. However, it can be fixed. It's just going to be a little bit more involved. And I've come up with a couple different versions of the system. But the idea is that I use water to push the monsters into the entire system and to get their drops. This whole system is based off of a video I saw made by SethBling, which I'm going to put in the description below. And he basically explains how to make a very simple mob spawning system. And I took his idea and I took it to the next level by incorporating a soul sand with water block mob elevator, which I saw on Reddit, to get the monsters to the surface, and then I can collect their drops from there. And I'll demonstrate all this stuff to you guys in just a second here. But the idea is that you would use redstone, which powers these trapdoors and either holds back or does not hold back the water. And I could hook it up to a clock. In this case, it's a hopper clock made by Etho. And as you can see, the water comes and goes according to the clock here. Pretty cool. So ideally, though, it wouldn't be that fast. It would be a little bit slower because every single time that the water is updated, it creates a huge amount of lag. And if I have it running every 30 seconds, it's just going to be too much lag for me to want to deal with. So I'd probably make it once every like 2 or 3 minutes, maybe. It all depends on how much lag I'm comfortable with. But I could definitely turn it on or off depending on when I need the system to be running. So here's the new design that I just came up with recently. It's based off of this original design I came up with where you have the mobs funneled into like this little T intersection, and then the mobs are pushed against this wall and are pushed up to the surface. But the problem is that I can't collect mobs coming from this direction because of this wall right here, and I can't really go around. It's just kind of weird, so I decided to completely redo it, and I have this plus shape intersection right here where monsters can come from any direction, and they'll come to this center little collection area, and they'll get pushed into there from using these fence posts. Spiders will go into the system too. They just kind of get stuck on this wall, but if another mob comes along, they'll sometimes push them in. You can see that the creeper just pushed the spider into there. So the spiders do get funneled in, and they're just a little bit slower to do so. And they all get funneled to the top. One problem with spiders is they like to climb, so I have this whole system right here to kill them if they do get caught. So the way that the system works is if a spider goes up, climbs up here, they'll get collected into this water stream and pushed against these chests. Because the spider is inside of a water block, he'll eventually start drowning. He'll continue to swim, he's not going to fall back down, he'll start drowning. And when the spider drowns, his items will float upwards, because items float. They'll get pushed against this chest, as you just saw, and because items are small, they'll fit in this little tiny gap between the water block and the chest. They'll fall down into this water, and then get pushed into this magma block, which would have hopper minecarts underneath it to collect the items. So, as you can see, I put a lot of thought into the system, and it works very well. I can collect spiders now, which I previously could not do, which is really awesome, because I'll get string along with all the other items I've been getting. And the whole system will work even if I'm 40 blocks away from the spawning pads. So as you can see, monsters are indeed spawning here, and let's just say that there are a few more here. I can power it using this lever right here. And as you can see, you can have multiple levels, and they'll all fall into the central water stream here from those levels. And then eventually the clock will turn off again, and all of the water will recede, and more monsters can spawn on the pads. And as you can see, every single time I do that, it gets really laggy, so I don't want to do that too much. As you can see, that I can stack the pads next to each other, so that I can continue moving in this direction as far as I want to. As most of you know, redstone does have a limit, so you can only go 15 blocks before the redstone signal becomes too degraded to continue to pass the signal along. So this whole line of redstone here would be 15 blocks long, then I'd have a torch powering it, then I could have another 15 blocks of redstone and then a repeater, and I could just continue on in that fashion. And then every single time I have a redstone torch or repeater, I would just have this little wall in the middle here to kind of designate that pad from the next one. This system can also be replicated on the back side too, so I could have pads behind the system that are powered by the same line of redstone. The only difficulty I've had with this system was actually getting the redstone to work correctly, because ideally when the system is on, all of these lines of redstone need to be powered to keep the trapdoors in the closed position. So you can't do that with just your standard redstone tower like this, or even a sideways one. So I had to create this really weird design that actually works, but it's kind of weird how it does it. Basically, you have your first starting redstone torch, which powers this block and powers the first line of redstone, which is that one right there. Then this torch carries the signal upwards, and then this torch, which will be on because it's not powered by the torch below it, will power this signal right here, which is coming from that torch right there. That's what you see there. That redstone torch powers this block, which powers this redstone signal right here, and it turns that torch off. Now, because this torch is off, this block would not be powered, so a redstone signal right here, that's not a redstone signal. That redstone signal there would not get powered. Sorry about that. But if I put a redstone torch right there, it will get powered. But notice how this, I just broke it. That trapdoor right there is not being activated by that redstone torch. It needs to be activated by this redstone dust right here. So it's in the open position. That's the wrong direction, but it's in the open position. So, as you can see, the reason why I put the redstone dust here is so they could power this block, which is powering the trapdoor in the open position. So, I would continue the signal like so. So I would have a redstone torch right here. If I could collect it, there you go. Which turns this one off and turns this one on. And then this is the next line of redstone that would power the next set of pistons. And as you can see, the pattern repeats itself, so now I have to have a dot of redstone, torch, 2 torches, and you just continue that pattern onward and upward. So if you want to make the system yourself, that's how you would do it. It's kind of weird, but it works. And that's what I've incorporated right here. So you can imagine then that there would be, walls right here. And then the walls go upwards all the way to the very top. And now you wouldn't put a block here because this would be a wall itself right here. This designates the 2 paths away from each other. So it would look kind of like this. So you can kind of see this is what the system would look like, and then you'd have the next set of paths right here. So it'd start right here because you'd have the line of trapdoors right there. And as you can see, that's how I would continue making paths on the back side of the system. And I could just continue upward as far as I wanted, and I can continue in this direction as far as I wanted. And instead of using redstone torches when this one gets to the end of its 15 block distance, I could just simply use a repeater instead. So, notice that the farther and farther you go, of course, the more delay there is. But if you don't mind a little bit of delay, just know that you might have to make the clock a little bit longer so that you don't constantly have redstone lag all over your world. It just all depends on how much lag you're comfortable with. Again, Mojang changed all of the Minecraft mob behavior, so I had no choice but to create this expensive redstone design. But this is the solution to how I would fix the 40 block distance. So all I have to do now is just build this in my Let's Play world, and I could continue to get mob drops now, and I won't have to worry about them just kind of sitting there stagnantly at the bottom of my mob system without anything happening. So this system could be improved. I could just replace these water blocks with just dispensers instead, and the dispensers would have buckets of water in them. And then instead of having to have a line of redstone, I could just have a set of observers that would just power the dispensers once, and then they would place their water, and then another set of power would come through, and then they'd collect the water. It'd be much simpler that way, but I don't have the iron to make all of those buckets. So that's why I'm doing it this way instead. But definitely something to note for the future. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get back into the Minecraft Let's Play world. Alright, everybody, welcome back to the super duper laggy Minecraft Let's Play world. So here I am at the bottom of the mob system. As you can see, I've already begun the excavation of the new mob spawning pads. So this whole system actually needs to be completely redone. Everything from the 2x2 water elevator needs to be redone, and all of the mod pads need to be redone. I need to invest a lot more redstone, as you know. This whole system has just got some problems, and the only way I'm going to be able to do that is by excavating everything. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through all the excavation, and then I'm also going to show you guys what I'm going to do about the 2x2 water elevator here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. I'm going to have to do a lot of digging, so see you in just a little bit. Alright, so first things first, I need to fix the water elevator. So one thing's for sure is I need to fix that water there because it takes my monsters way too long to get to the end of that. I need to make this 3x3 instead of 2x2 so that spiders will fit in there. I need to add the drowning trap to the top of the elevator so that when spiders die, or when they come up here, they can actually drown and they can collect their items. So the first thing that I do is I'm going to use my silk touch pick to get inside there. I'm going to pick up the water, and then I'm going to start placing the glass needed. Now the one problem I foresee is that the monster volcano here is designed, well, not designed, but it generated in such a way that it's really works well with the 2x2 structure. So adding that extra dimension, the extra third level, if you will, is going to really make things a lot harder for me. So let me show you what I mean. So as you can see here, the kind of shape of the monster volcano here is kind of 2x2 in nature. So I might have to dig this out a little bit more and change the look of it a little bit to get it to work with a 3x3 looking structure. It might make it look a little bit more artificial, but honestly, I don't really care about looks. I care more about functionality. So I'm going to have to get started on breaking all this out, which is going to be annoying. So let's see here. I'm going to start from down here. There we go. Just what I wanted. A bunch of water to wash away all my torches. Alright, so one of the things I didn't really talk about was how to continue on water streams when they run out. Because as you know, water streams only travel 8 blocks, and ideally you would only use them for about 5 or 6 blocks because anything beyond that and the mobs really move very slowly. But how do you continue the water stream? Well, before you get to the point where it runs out, ideally you would implement one of these things. I call it like a little step. And it's actually a very old technique that's been used for a very, very long time in Minecraft. And it's actually very useful to have, so let me show you how it works. So the first thing you do is you place 3 signs to block any water from going forward here, and you dig down 3 blocks. Like this. So you have a 3-block space with 3 signs in the middle to prevent water from going down the middle. The water has to go underneath. The first thing you do is you place down some blocks here. Well, you wouldn't mine those blocks out immediately. Take your water buckets, place one here, place one here. It makes a water source in the middle that you can use to replenish. Then you knock out these 3 blocks right here, get your slabs, and place them underneath. Now, the reason why you have to place the slabs last rather than trying to put the water buckets on top of them is because of the new water mechanics in 1.13. If you right-click on the slab, it's just going to waterlog the block, and I can't shift-click, it still does the same thing. So that's why you have to do it that way. And then your water stream going this way would just reach its end right there, and then if I had one more bucket, it would continue on like this. The water would push me down. I would go down a little bit, but then the water would push me into the slabs, and then it continues me onwards. And I tested this in my creative world, and indeed it does work as expected. So definitely want to figure out how to use those things if you're implementing this yourself in your Let's Play world. Another thing to watch out for, if you're building this at the bottom of the world, make sure that the lowest you go is at the top of bedrock, because if I go any lower, you'll have little bits of bedrock sticking out here and there, and you don't want that. So the block that I place these fence posts on is the same block where you have the last little bit of bedrock visible, if that makes sense. So anyways, I have this water column working now, and I have all the water flowing to the middle, so I'm ready to finish up the top part, and then I can continue on digging out down here. And just like that, the mob system, or at least the upper half of the mob system, is now functioning. I have the chest drowning system up there. The bubble column takes them all the way to the top. The water streams push them over there. They fall down, they take damage, and they die. And all of their drops end up in this one chest. So everything seems like it should be in order now, so all I have to do is just hook up the system to it. And we should start seeing some monsters coming through, so let's go ahead and make this look a little bit cleaner too, since I'm already here. But yeah, it's really going to be awesome to get to see this thing actually in action. It seems like it's working just as expected, so can't wait to see monsters coming through here at a pretty good speed. And it'll be like little waves too, because the water will push them at regular intervals, so you can see like waves of monsters coming through, so... Anyways, I gotta head back down to the bottom and get started on looking at the actual spawning pads for the monsters too. Alright guys, so I have created the spawn pads. I decided to only do 2 per side of the clover leaf, so I have 2 levels on each side of the clover leaf. This pattern is mirrored on the other sides like a fractal pattern. Right now all the water is down. I actually pulsed all of the trapdoors there, so they're now in the open position, which is the default position when the line of redstone is off. So monsters will not spawn in here, even though it's dark. And this is good because I don't need to invest in like glowstone or anything to keep this thing from spawning monsters right now. Everything is set in place right now, so any monsters that do spawn will be funneled into that central little water block. So the only thing left to do now really is just to close this up and then install the redstone torch towers and the redstone clock. And then of course I would like to have a central lever that I could flick near the surface so that I can turn this thing on and off without having to go all the way down here. But yeah, it looks like everything, I have little tunnels around here that I can use to get to each side. I didn't utilize all of the space previously. You can see some of these old mob spawning pads here. But yeah, this entire area is just, as you can see, just continues on in that fashion. So all I have to do now is just install torch towers right here. and then connect them underground with redstone, which is going to be the hardest part by far. Yeah, I'm going to have to find a space too for that hopper clock. I'm thinking about putting the hopper clock right here, because I'm going to expand upwards rather than outwards if I ever decide to increase the size of this in the future. So it'd be a very long time before I'd have to actually move the hopper clock, and I'd be utilizing the space. But I designed it so that it'd be very easy to expand if I wanted to in the future. But yeah, I would rather go up rather than out, because if I go out, then I have to worry about hitting other underground structures like the man cave. So I got to be careful about that. But if I go upwards, there's really nothing to block me except for the surface. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get everything I need, and I'm going to go ahead and install the redstone here. Alright everybody, so the redstone has been installed. You can't really see it right now because I had to hide it, but there's a line of redstone going underneath this line of slabs, goes into this wall, and it branches off to the torch tower right there in that corner, which powers these two sets of trapdoors right here. And then there's a line that goes across right here, underneath these blocks right here, and I believe it's actually over there. But yeah, right there at that point. It goes across here, and it goes to the torch tower in that corner, and it powers those trapdoors as well. Then I have a line of redstone back there that powers the torch tower right there, and I have another one that powers the one back there. And the hopper clock is in that direction right there. So I've tested everything. It should be working. I used a redstone torch to make sure that all of them turn off, and they indeed do. So I think this whole system is ready to go. The hopper clock is in the off position right now, but all I have to do is just switch to the on position, and then things should start working. So let's go ahead and destroy that torch and see this thing in action. Okay, so here's the big moment. I put a stack and a half of items inside of here, so the amount of time between them should be pretty long, but I'm going to actually reduce that down to just 8 items, and I'll put it back when I'm done here. But this is just for testing purposes. Let's go ahead and flick the lever and see what happens. Oh, big lag spike. Okay, let's see. Oh, looks like everything's working. Look at that. Looks like it's able to keep up decently. Okay, that's a ton of lag though. Turn that off. And then if I turn it off in the middle of a cycle, it'll finish what it's doing and then continue on. There we go. Lag's gone. Thank goodness. Okay, it looks like everything is working. I'm going to do some more testing off camera just to double check, but yeah, I think everything is ready to go here with the mob system. So I'll see you guys at the surface, and we'll see what the spawning rates look like. Hopefully they're pretty good. So I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Alright, so I have a lever here, and as you can see, it is definitely hooked up to the system. So I did test it, the lever is hooked up. So let's flick it and just see what happens. All that has to happen now is just... Oh, there's a dirt block inside there. How did that get there? Oh! There they come. It's working. The mobs are on their way. I don't have a way of getting rid of that dirt block. I'll have to get my Silk Touch pickaxe. Wow, it's working. Got some zombies going up there and some skeletons. Okay. Yeah, we're moving along. Okay, so it looks like the mob system is finally working. That's really nice. I'll have to fix that dirt block problem, but I think it's we're in business, you guys. So yeah. Let me see. Let me see what's next on the docket here. Alright everybody, so I've done a little bit of editing, and I think it's time to end the video here, and I just wanted to go ahead and do the comment of the day, since comments are kind of rare, and I just want to recognize everybody who does leave a comment on my channel. So, the comment I got was from an episode I made previously, in episode 5, by this person named Awesome Persons, and he says, "Hello mate, nice video." That's really appreciate it. I really appreciate that, awesome persons. Thank you very much for thinking of me. I always appreciate it when somebody leaves a nice, kind remark for me or a thoughtful remark like that. So, looks like the mob system is definitely working. Got some spiders in the system too. So, looks like everything is working out just nicely. So, appreciate all the support you guys give me. Apologize on this video being so late once again. Just unfortunately, I've been getting towards the end of school here, and it's kind of hard for me to keep up with my regular upload schedule. But I promise you, once school is over, which will be in a couple weeks, I'll get right back into it in my weekly uploads. But yeah, you'll have to understand, with finals and everything, I just kind of got to finish strong. But yeah, I'll definitely get right back into it pretty soon here. So, anyways, appreciate you guys tuning into the video today. Appreciate all your support, and definitely keep it coming. Definitely appreciate all of it. So, with all that said, take it easy, everybody.